going back to that COVID conversation we talked about, I mean, that's a lot of what we miss, with that human interaction, that relationship building in person. Yeah. So I think that's just a great point.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that would be a focus. So in turn with that, getting more classes, really building and growing these states that have only like a couple or a few instructors holding it down, of course.
Sure.
And then just kind of evolving with as the time goes. Like as we now, like I said, with this retail site, now that's going to allow us to build other things. And once we see how this works, will this work better? And how can we, one of the things that I do feel is very important is with me or Donna or our leadership team, when they physically go to these cities to host different trainings or even just to go for a fun weekend because there's something they can support.
How often are they going?
I would say at least every month there is someone going somewhere for something.
Yeah.
And I think that is powerful because, not to say, how do I say this? When people go into state and you're like, the instructor group gets excited because that means we call it a commit full weekend. So like usually there's different master classes, events and stuff like that. And then, you know, they clear the schedule and they're so focused, and it brings almost the community together that like on their normal day-to-day week, they might not see each other. So it's like just bringing somebody into that city, and it kind of like not shakes it up, but it builds excitement. It builds something different than the normal, I teach on a Tuesday at 5 o'clock, So I think that it is, or even just instructors going to other instructors' classes in different states. Vegas is a big one. Everyone goes to Vegas, so they always stop by a Vegas class. And I love seeing a photo of an instructor that lives in a different state going to see it because they're like, oh, it was a family trip. And I was able to stop into a class. That is beautiful. And I think that keeps the whole community connected in a way, because it's not just about like where they want to go to these classes. And Vegas classes are so much fun. They have 200
I can imagine
200 students at a time in the class.
Wow.
Their gyms are huge, stage and lighting, so that's why it's definitely a sought out. But anytime people go in any state, they always are looking for a class to check out.
What about the venue? Do you ever switch venues and do it like on a beach or in a outside setting rather than inside that gym or in that classroom?
Yeah, so we have a couple of instructors back in Washington. When it's summer, they take over like a basketball court.
Cool.
There's people in Arizona that do outside classes as well. We've kind of had them all over. Nothing's limited. You know, it's kind of wherever. There is, you have to be careful with music licensing, and if you're going somewhere outside, like making sure like waivers, if someone gets hurt, who's held responsible, making sure. So there is those little things where I think sometimes instructors get a little timid with that until they know for sure what they can and cannot do. Like for May, we're doing a walk for the mental health awareness, and where we're doing it at, we had to contact them, be like, hey, we're doing a walk. They're like, oh, okay, cool. It's a $500 bill. To do the walk.
Now, is this like a walk, or is it a dance walk?
No, it's
Good question.
At this point for that, we should make it a dance walk. But
People
I understand.
moonwalking in there.
It's the liability, so I completely understand. But I think that's sometimes where people are careful. But you know, we've done basketball courts, just different thing. It's anywhere that you can dance. It's, you know, when the instructors are going to grab food after, and a song comes on in a restaurant, it ends up being the restaurant.
There you go.
Oh yeah, it happens everywhere.
Yeah. Flash mob.
Literally, yeah.
Commit flash mob.
By accident sometimes too, so that's fun.
I mean, I would imagine you'd get a lot of content out of all of these classes, all the different states, different venues. And I mean, for you on the marketing side, that has to be, you know, grade A marketing material for you. And you bring that brand of merchandise into the content, you're telling your story. Yeah,
there is a lot of great, I mean, there's just so many great people within this organization that do that almost just naturally. Like they get so excited, so they make the TikToks. They, you know, they want to make a choreo, or they want to. Their flyers are just so artistic because they're getting inspired by different things, and it's consistent.
Yeah.
It's like and then one person will do something a little different, and then someone sees it and they get inspired, and then they're now doing something artistic or fun or creative. You know, we are in a space where. We always joke around that, like, me and Donna, like, if you were to give us a box, like, we're going to climb out of it in any aspect. That's how we created part of us. So we were like, we need to, like, widen the box. And still have, you know, organization within it. But if you give people more and allow them to be creatively themselves, you're going to just get better results.
Well, and I think for the, you know, being a dance brand, there's what more creativity than dancing. So those things intertwine and they bleed together in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think that's fundamental to you.
Yes.
You have to be able to allow and foster that creativity.
Yes. So that's actually how we created the format. So that C in dance was creative set list. So we call our playlist a set list.
Cool.
We have 7 categories.
Okay.
So I'll just run through them real quick. We have activate, lit, strut, refuel, sculpt, groove, and breathe.
Okay.
So those 7 categories will make up your hour class. And what I mean by that is we have a couple that do not move, that will stay. An activate's always going to be your warm up. It's always going to be your first. Your breathe is your stretch song, always going to be at the end.
Sure.
But then these other categories, as long as each instructor has one of each category, they can do whatever they want.
Okay.
So then they can say, oh, I want to have 5 lits, which, hey, it's an acronym. Level of intensity training, which is more of your traditional fitness elements. You have your strut, which is more of your like dancier choreography.
Okay.
And then you have a sculpt, which is intentional muscle movement. And then you have a refuel, which is exactly what it sounds like, a refuel.
Sure.
So they can take that and mold how they want their class to be. But when we post those 7 choreos on the vault every month, we label what they are, and then the instructors can almost like plug and play. So, and they're all different genres too, but they can plug and play and create their own experience. So they're not like in this box on how their class has to be. They get to be in this like wider box, but it's still the commit experience because of the levels, because of the movement. We don't repeat movement in a commit class. We strive to not repeat any movement. Which can kind of sound crazy, but there's variations, and it's a lot more simpler than what that sounds like. So you could go into my class, you can go into Maribel's class, you can go into Donna's class, or any of us, and it's still going to feel like commit, but it's going to be a completely different experience because, listen, like I said, you cannot hold us in, so why could we think to hold anyone else creatively?
Yeah.
So that's how we created that way to...
I would imagine that's something that drives enrollment to be an instructor. It's a tool for you to attract people to have your own voice, but we'll give you the framework for what you need to do, but you can go and be you.
Yeah. Well, we do have, I think a story I've heard multiple times when I've taught in labs is that they'll go to this, and as a student, I went to this person's class, and then I went to this person's class, and I got completely 2 different things, and they start to see it almost. And that is, I think that is a selling point for commit when instructors, because, and so much, you get your instructors are like, I don't have time to create choreo. I want a format that makes it for me. I don't have to think. I can just go and teach. Then you get people that want to be more creative and want to have a different way of an avenue. And I think this allows all of that because they get to make it theirs.
And most of your instructors, ambassadors, your class attendees, students, this is something they're doing in addition to the rest of their day, I would imagine. So that's something that I think, giving them that framework, it's something that helps them be able to feel free to imagine more and make those classes happen how they see it happening.
Definitely.
Yeah, talk about that for a second as far as an instructor, right? You have that hour class, right? Is it something that's already in my head and I'm basically memorize the entire class, or is it something that's more free form and I'm kind of making up as I go?
Yeah, so a set list used to be 16 songs when music was 3 to 5 minutes long, and now music is like 2 minutes long, so we'll say 20 songs. But the idea is to we tell our instructors that their set list should be made before your class, well before your class, because there's a couple of things that we want them to look for. So we strive hard not to cause muscle fatigue or muscle failure. So if we have 2 choreos back to back that have the same movement in there, we're going to cause muscle fatigue or muscle failure. It's just like going to the gym and all you do is biceps.
Sure.
Or all you do is squats. You're not gonna get the growth or what you need for your body. So we strive for muscle confusion. And in order to do that, they have to spend their time like creating a set list, like it's their homework, like it's their document, going, okay, what movements are in this song? What movements are in this song? Okay, hold on, that's the same genre, let me play. So there is a learning curve. Nothing happens if you get it wrong. You know what I mean? It's a learning experience. I've definitely put a song back to back and I felt it like, okay, never put that song back to that song ever again. But because choreo is, there's moments in some choreos that there might be a freestyle, like, hey, okay, freestyle for this 16 count or something like that. But technically speaking, every song has like a movement to it if it's something they put on their set list.
Cool. And then from that student experience too, right? you said there were 3 levels, I want to say. Do you just sign up, or is there an assessment? How do I go from level 1 to level 3 in that way?
Yeah, so let me break that down a little bit more. So what I mean, so we'll take like a choreo. So levels exist within the lit category and within the strut category. So I'm going to take a jumping jack, for example. So a traditional jumping jack is like level 2. We'll start the first verse of a choreo at level 1, which would be like a step out jumping jack. So everyone sees what the modification is first. Now, say it's a choreo we've been doing for a year, and instructors like, or students like, I'm just going to do a jumping jack. They can completely go. We are instructing. It's our job to provide the options and the modifications. So we'll go through a choreo. I'll do the level 1 first, which is the step out. Then, the chorus will come back around, level 2. Now we'll go to a regular jumping jack. And then level 3 is the plyometric with a star jump or a tuck jump or something like that, where the levels are incorporated within that choreo. And then the next choreo will do it again. That's also where you find your hit kind of infused in there, bringing that heart rate down and up. It provides, like, currently right now I have a torn ACL. And I'm out here teaching still. How am I able to do that? By the levels, by being able to show.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
See you walk around.
Yeah. I'm doing my best out here, but that way, levels actually. Donna, both me and Donna have had weight transformation stories of each over 100 pounds. Before we created.
Good for you.
Before Commit became what it is, and Donna brought levels into Commit by living the experience. Sure. And what I mean by that, she walked into a class and, instructor's amazing, going all out, which is a beautiful thing to watch and see, but she couldn't do what the instructor could do. So what does that do for a student's self-esteem? What do they do?
Sure.
They're walking out going, okay, I got to work out, but and it's not their job to know modification.
It's not empowering though.
Yeah. And modifications, I think anyone could figure out a modification, but when you're also responsible for learning the choreo as a student, there's a lot happening right now. And, you're trying to catch up, and all we care about is your body moving 100% of the time in that class. So she started doing modifications in the back of the room. And then students started noticing her modifications, started pushing her up to watch. Because it's when you team teach or you have like a master class where there's multiple instructors, it's great to see an instructor stay at a level 1. Now, when I say level 1, that does not mean like the intensity is low.
Gotcha.
Sure.
So, we have what we call level 1 divas that are still burning 800 to 900 calories in a class because you're still moving and squatting and doing all these movements. You're just not having impact.
Sure.
So then that way we give everyone in the room their ability to be there 100% because they can, say someone comes in and you're used to them being a level 2, level 3, but then they got an injury and so they're not used to the modification, so they don't know what to do. That's why even we tell instructors, even if you're doing a class favorite, everyone in the room is going to level 2, you still have to do level 1 regardless if your whole class is going to level 2, level 3, because that's what the format is.
Yeah.
It's not to take that away.
Yeah.
So what's the expectations after a class? Like what am I leaving with after a Commit class?
We really want people to leave feeling like they wowed out. So we have 5 core values: wow out, empowerment, respect, community, and compassion through action.
Love that.
Thank you. That wow and out is it's the fun, know, like it's not just about the dancing. Yeah, it's if you walk into a class, you don't even have to dance. I guarantee you're gonna walk out feeling good because people are woo-wooing, people are high-fiving, people are, we love a good choreo that has like an 8 count of like turning to your neighbor and shaking a little bit and like just encouraging. So, that empowerment's really important for us, and it's why it's one of our core values, because a lot of instructors will have the story of like, I never wanted to be an instructor, but my instructor pulled me up.
Yeah. Sure.
I got pulled up 14, 13, however long years ago. I was just a student. And then my instructor at the time pulled me up to do the song with her. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that I would make it here. Yeah. So it's the instructor, the student, that started in the back. Now they're kind of feeling more confident, and you kind of get to watch this happen. Like I said, I have students for years. One of my students back at home, her name's Karen. She finally got on stage with me after like 10 years. And like, I was like, there we go. Like it's those moments. And then I know she left being like, okay, I did it. Like I finally did it. And you want those milestones that they get to reach. And also through levels, I do believe that students leave getting to say, oh, I went a little bit harder on that song today. Yeah. Or I did one star jump in that one song where normally I would have stayed at a regular jack. Sure. Just those little things. It doesn't need to be a lot, because if you're coming weekly or you're going to 2 classes a week, you get more and more opportunity to grow those milestones.
Sure. Now, for your students, do you see most of your students being like in their professional career, later in life, younger, and like in college? Like what's the
like
breakdown?
The age range?
Yeah, what's the age range look like?
Everywhere.
Anywhere
you go, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I have a student that is as young as like 12, 11, comes to every class. And then I've had an oldest student of mine be like 85.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So that's why another reason why the levels are important, right? But I mean, I would say like it just depends on your time of your class as well as like where your demographic is.
Sure.
So if it's like a 9:30 on a Tuesday, it tends to be probably like in like the 40 and up, but then you'll get a couple of the younger that like that's their day off.
Sure.
So it's very different. Or if you're in the city on a Wednesday at 6:30, you're going to get a different. So all of that is, we have ages from all over.
That's, from 12 to 85, that's a full spectrum of ages to engage with the brand and to find different ways to make sure the messaging all resonates.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. And I'm sure a lot of marketing work.
It's good. The youth is important. Yeah. And I think the youngest instructor currently right now, I believe we have is 15 years old.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
We love the kids. We love getting, the world is a crazy place, and movement just doesn't happen as much anymore with devices and everything like that. So
and everything else.
Yeah. So as much as we can get these kids involved, and because, like children also take like actual hip hop classes, actual ballet, this is just another form for them. And it's great to see. And I don't know, it's one of the things I love to see, because as a child, as soon as I hit out of high school, I think that's when I started gaining a lot of my weight, because I wasn't active as much anymore.
Sure.
I didn't.
Were you an athlete in high school?
Yeah, cheerleader, basketball, volleyball, just everything and anything. And then, you come out of high school and it's like, where?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you do now?
I think that's a common conversation. If you're a high school athlete and you're not going on to play in college, that is a struggle that I think a lot of people, have to navigate it.
Yeah.
The identity of, what am I doing now? And then also other things that might accompany it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an outstanding brand that you're building in a way that you are able to help people change their life in a lot of ways. It all starts with moving. Mm-hmm. And what a better way to start moving than through dance.
Yeah.
Have some fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, everyone nods that. Everyone, you can be in the elevator. Yeah. Everyone's always doing something. So it's for everybody.
Maybe me and Chris will show up to a class.
Come on.
I could probably use some pointers.
It's on camera.
I'll be in that level 1 for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll see me wilding out. Yeah.
But, we've talked a lot about culture and everything that goes into empowering your students, empowering your ambassadors, your instructors. And the culture statement that I saw on the website was, it's all about the culture. So talk a little bit about the culture that goes into CTY and, the umbrella brand underneath it, Commit Dance Fitness, all the things that go into making the culture something that you can articulate and bring to the marketplace.
Yeah, so I kind of spoke about the 5 core values that we have. That's what we consider our culture.
Sure.
Our culture is that wilding out, the empowerment, the respect, community, and compassion through action. So if we focus on those always being the things that we come back to, I think that's what helps us grow and showing that the culture is important to us. So as long as everyone's feeling all of those things consistently, then that is our focus. We did win in that. We're just silly. I always say when I'm teaching my labs, I'm like, I'm 95% fun and I'm 5% business. So when I have to talk about like the business stuff, I'm always like, okay, I'm taking off my fun hat, because we don't want to. And I think that's why when I toured here and I got to meet your guys' CEOs and stuff here, and hearing the stories about like how they're fun. Mm-hmm. Like I told her, Mirabelle, I was like, I think I don't need to know much else. I found the company that I want to work with. There, because, let me go on my tangent here. It bothers me with companies when the CEO or the leaders or the head have such a gap from the actual workers doing the job.
Sure.
It really bothers me. Mm-hmm. So I never want us to be in that position through money through work requirements, through being on the ground and running. So seeing that and hearing, you know, she shared some stories with me, and I was like, I love that, because that I honestly think is a problem. So when you find organizations and stuff like that, it's very meaningful to me, and it makes me feel good. I don't want our company to put money into another company that doesn't represent those things. So I think it comes with that. Even the culture is even the behind the scene things. What decisions are we making as a company that's going to stand behind the culture and core values of respect and empowerment and all these things? Like I hit what's the thing?
The gong.
I hit the gong.
There you go.
I walked through here. Everyone was saying hello to me. Like you could see they wanted to be here.
Yeah.
And that speaks for the company. And that doesn't just start with them walking in on the door. It's how are they valued? What do they, all these, I know the first couple of weeks, me and Maribel couldn't work on anything. She's like, everyone's out of this retreat that they gotta have. And I was like, all right, well, I love that, but okay, I'll be patient. But that's important because, I'm sure a lot of your people here, this is where they spend 40 plus hours of their week. Mm-hmm. Our instructors are doing something on top of their 40 hours a week that they don't really get. It's rewarding. It's not a monetary thing.
They're doing it because they care.
Yeah. And in order for that to be the culture, it has to start in other ways where we make decisions that no one sees.
And it has to be genuine, and it has to be, consistent and transparent and clear as day. Like we're all in alignment from the top down. We're on the same page.
Well, if not, people sniff that out right away too.
Right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it will always show. Yeah. It will always show sooner or later.
Absolutely. So Quande, when you think about how you got started in all of this, I would imagine someone inspired you at that point, and there's someone inspiring you here in 2025. Who's uplifted you to take a bet on, commit to dance fitness and make sure that things are, through these 15 years or so, you got from square one to where we're at today?
Yeah. Wow. I think it all has been ever changing. Yeah. When I first started getting into the dance fitness game, I got out of a bad relationship, had all the weight, and then I had some great friends. So I started taking classes. So this is what I love this story. I started taking group fitness classes off of a Groupon. Oh. So some of my girlfriends.
I don't know something about Groupon.
Yeah, my wife used to work there.
There you go. But it's so funny because it's like Groupon. But really, if I wouldn't have done that Groupon, I don't think I would own this company today.
Wow.
So the power of saying yes to something. Yeah. My friends knew I was a cheerleader. They knew I loved to dance. And they were like, okay, let's just try. It's $20. It's down the street. Let's try this dance fitness class, right? And I did. And I fell in love. And I was there every single day. I lost over 150 pounds. I became an instructor. I became a trainer, and then now
changed your life.
Here we are with Commit. Yeah. So that's why I'm always like the power of a yes versus like not even knowing it. You might not even like the thing you're going to, but you might meet somebody.
Well, and the power of trying something new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what started all of that. And then throughout, there's been different motivators and different motivations. I have a couple great mentors in my life that when I have struggling questions and stuff like that, like I call them and ask them the questions. And, I feel like there's days where, and I'm sure every instructor will contest to this, because I don't want to go. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go. Yeah. I don't want to teach. I want to stay on my couch. I'm not in the mood. And then you think about who's there and you think about what they get from it. And that within itself is the motivation that sometimes you just need. Or it's so crazy, and God works in crazy ways and everything. And there'll be the days where I'm like, no. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'll get a message on DM on Facebook for an instructor. And they're literally like, I have had the worst day ever. And I just want to let you know, I'm looking forward to your class because girl, I need to shake this off. And I'll be like, okay, I'll go. Yeah. So there's those internal motivators that aren't necessarily, that you don't know about. Sure. And then there's different things that I believe that the team that we have, we see in each other. And sometimes, you get those words of encouragement in ways that are so supportive and that you didn't even know you needed. There's sometimes I hear things from, my partner or a trainer or something that I'm like, I did do that. Yeah. Or, and you kind of you have your head down and you're just thinking about the next thing to do, and you don't stop and smell the roses as much as we should. And so it's nice. I think that that sometimes is within its own motivation within itself. So there's so many people that have played such an important role, or just like, you know, my friends that don't dance, they'll be encouraging me, and it's so cute the way they say things, and I love it. And they're just so encouraging because they know what I do at home and like being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So I have a friend at home. She's also an entrepreneur. She's the one that does my lashes.
Cool.
But she's also an entrepreneur, has her own product and everything like that. And it's kind of nice to just talk, because it's like, you want to be able to talk with somebody that also is going through similar struggles, because she is a trainer in the lash world and has her own product. And then we just like get on tangents, and next thing you know, we've come up with like the next business idea or whatever. So I think those are important too, having people like in your circle that, I don't want to say that you're on the same page, but the same knowledge with, that you're able to really have like real discussions with.
You're on the same bandwidth.
Sometimes you want to just vent, and anyone can be there for that. But then it's like having those certain people that, you know, like, okay, this is actually a problem. I need someone to help me make a solution, or I'm gonna fall off the wagon right now. So
I think having those circles of trust and those shoulders you can lean on, it's absolutely, you know, fundamental to anyone as you're navigating your career path. And on the entrepreneurship side, I would imagine there's all sorts of challenges that come up when you're trying to grow a brand, grow a business, pave your own way. Having that tight-knit circle, that you got to have that.
Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
Well, Quande, it's been a pleasure to have you in the club today. I think our listeners have enjoyed hearing a little bit of a different story from the fitness world. But outstanding brand you're building, outstanding effort that you're putting in to commit Dance Fitness. Love following the story and the journey of the brand. Cheers to an outstanding 2025.
Yeah, well, I thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Look forward to the future.
Yep.